So I've had quite a few people asking me, how difficult is it to get to 800 plus testosterone? Is it even possible? I'm 30, I'm 42, I'm 50. Is it possible to take 800 plus testosterone? Tell me why I shouldn't go on TRT or start popping Clomid pills or whatever. So the first thing is that obviously the younger you are, the easier it is. If you're in your 20s, not only is it possible, like what are you playing at? You're supposed to be 800 plus. Like, this is when you're meant to be at your peak. Genuinely, throughout history, men were well above 800, especially when they were younger. This is your birthright. You're supposed to be 800 plus when you're young. You're supposed to be at your peak athleticism, physical strength, fertility, physical prowess. 30 is where a lot of guys, their bodies are not quite at the peak throughout your 30s, but there shouldn't be that much of a decline in your 30s. A little bit, there will be a bit. I think where the real decline with most guys in their 30s comes from is that's when they start getting married, and especially when they start having kids. For 1,000,001 reasons, men's testosterone levels start to decline. There's a very real thing of, when you're around babies all the time, crying babies, it tends to reduce the guy's testosterone. Studies have been done on this. His estradiol and prolactin levels tend to go up. All of the factors remaining equal. I thought there was a branch going to fall down then. All of the factors remaining equal. Guys also tend to work harder, especially in the modern world where it's more expensive, higher taxes. You have to work harder to pay for said kids. There's more stress, a lot more catabolic activities. Not as catabolic as falling over the head first. So there's a million other reasons that men tend to decline in their 30s. But it's not an inevitability. It's not a biological thing. You can control this, and it's got nothing to do with having TRT. If you start going on TRT when your stress levels are really high, or your body fat percentage is over 20%, it's all going to estradiol or cortisol. It's converting into the wrong things, which will make you worse. It's the same thing with older men who start taking loads of DHEA pills, which is not really a supplement. It's more of a drug. It's a hormone you're taking there. That's not a supplement. Same thing with, so DHEA, and then there's a couple of other ones I won't get into, but you're taking hormones and these are precursors to testosterone. They're precursors to other downstream S3X hormones. You can't really control, once you start taking these things, what they convert into. If your body fat percentage is high, if your age is high, if you're in your 60s, it's more likely to happen. This, what I'm going to say. If your liver health isn't optimized, if your body fat percentage is high, you're more likely to have more estradiol, more cortisol, less actual testosterone, which is what you really want. So you've got to have the fundamentals on point. Whether you go down the TRT route, the DHEA route, the sort of grey area route, the enclomiphene, which is definitely grey area, or you stay completely natural, you have to have the fundamentals on point regardless, because the TRT route is going to backfire if you don't have the fundamentals. Have fun going on TRT when you're obese. I mean, that's just going to make things even worse. That's crazy. So all in all, in your 30s, I'm 30 now, and mine's higher than it was when I was 19, so that tells you something. Age is not the bottom line unless you're like 60 something or 70 something, and even then, it's less about your age, it's more about your lifestyle and your life choices. If you got married and you've got 5 kids, you're working 70 hours a week, stressed to glory, you barely ever sleep, and you've gained 30 pounds, it doesn't matter what your age is. Like, you're going to be low testosterone whether you're 18 years old or 58. Your testosterone will be tanked. It will be absolutely screwed because your lifestyle and your life choices, I'm not going to say are wrong, I'm going to say they are catabolic. They're not anabolic life choices. They are low testosterone life choices, whether you want to admit that or not. Working 80 hours a week and never sleeping is not good for testosterone levels. Being around lots of crying children all the time isn't good for testosterone levels. It's just not. Gaining 30 pounds of pure body fat is not good for testosterone levels. Drinking beer after work because you're stressed all the time, again, no one of those things is necessarily going to kill you. It's when you have to start stacking all these risk factors. It doesn't matter what your age is at that point, you're screwed. So, continuing on with this, guys in their 40s and 50s, it gets harder, of course, to get to the 800 plus mark. I've had a few clients. Tim was the only one who has agreed to go on video and actually do a testimonial. It's really hard to get testimonials from people. Like, I've offered incentives and guys just do not want to go on camera. They're terrified. And I get it. But he's the only one who I can like categorically say this guy is 40 plus now and he's still 800 plus. But there's been others, and you'll have to take my word for that. But I just can't get them on video. But it's more than possible as a 40 plus guy in his 40s to be 800 plus. There's loads of dudes in their 50s who are like just shy of it. And these guys train very hard. They take their training seriously. Sometimes they train too hard, in my opinion. But they work hard, they train hard, and they eat plenty of red meat. They're sort of like carnivore-leaning guys, usually. Lower carbs is a good idea once you're over 40. Lower carbs, not keto, necessarily. But generally speaking, you want slightly lower carbs. Plenty of training, plenty of red meat. These things tend to do very well for older guys. There's loads of guys in their 50s who are like in the 600 to 700 range, and they just keep on going. They barely ever decline. It's quite impressive. So it's very, very doable to have higher testosterone levels as you get older. And again, a lot of guys get very tempted to take things like DHEA and various other precursors to testosterone. But testosterone converts into estradiol, and it can convert into stress hormones, and you've got to keep that in mind. You can't really control the conversions. You can't really, I mean, there are drugs for it, but again, this further enforces everything I've been saying over the years. Before you know it, you're a walking pharmacy, and your liver starts getting taxed from all these drugs and aromatase inhibitors and stuff like that stops testosterone converting to estrogen. Or you could just be leaner. Just do the natural thing. Be leaner and keep your stress levels lower. And you don't need to be a walking pharmacy with a bunch of problems on the horizon. So, yes, obviously 800 plus testosterone, to answer the question, is more than possible. If you're younger, why are you not 1,000 testosterone? That's the question you should be asking. As you get older, yes, it gets a bit harder. Plenty of guys have done it before you. You can do it as well. And I hope if someone watching this does end up working with me, that I can get an actual video testimonial. Because I guess people are scared of like losing their jobs or something, but it's a testosterone thing. It's nothing controversial, I don't think. But yeah, it's very possible, very doable. I've done some ultimate guides recently that were very popular. One in particular was the Testosterone Bible. I talk about my journey from 400 to 1020. Again, I'm 30 years old now, and I'm way higher than I was when I was 19. I talk about the main things that got me there in that video. Check it out. It was very popular and I think very useful.